Good day, everyone. I am Lady May Tisnado from 2AB Psych A, and I will continue reporting about Chapter 15, and I will be discussing about death-related rituals and bereavement and grief. So death is defined as a powerful change of state that has mysterious qualities. So typically, it is accompanied by a range of symbolic rituals. These rituals address at least three critical aspects of of the meaning of death. First is how to treat the physical body or the corpse in an appropriate way. Second is how to address the fate of the spiritual aspect of the person or its soul. Third is how to meet the emotional needs of the survivors and the needs of of the society as a whole. Let us proceed on how different cultures or religion take care of the dead body. So most funeral preparations include specific practices for caring for the corpse. For example, in Muslims, they wash the body in warm water and soap and finally with a scented water. In Native Americans, there is a powdery substance made of corn that is used to cover the dead person's face. However, in Protestants and Catholics, the body is usually washed, embalmed, and dressed in clothes selected by the family. Often cosmetics are applied to make the person look as if he or she is just sleeping. The corpse is placed in a casket and laid out for viewing. In some cultures, the body is cremated, and in others, the body is buried. And now, how do they take care of the spirit? So, in Roman Catholic religion, their ritual is a celebration of faith, a prayer for God to deliver the person from the illness of the body, mind, and spirit, and a process of absolving the person of sins in preparation for life after death in a state of grace. So, as part of the ritual, the person confesses sins, takes communion, and prays with the priest or minister, reciting a set of familiar prayers and blessings. In Hindus, they believe that at death, the spirit leaves the body and enters a small flame that is lit next to the body. So the spirit remains in the home because of attachments to family and possessions. So in Hindus, the body is cremated and there is a period of prayers in the person's home that lasts for 12 days. So on that 10th day, the flame with the spirit is taken to the sea. Placing the flame in the sea is signal to the spirit to leave the attachments of the earthly life and begin the transition to the afterlife. So in the New Mexico, the Navajo believe that the dead person will need certain resources in the afterlife. The dead are often buried with an extra set of clothes, food, water, and other items that may be of value in the afterworld. So the Navajo believe that everything a person creates has some part of the person's spirit in it. So as a result, at death, many of the artifacts a person made, such as pottery or blankets, are cracked or torn in order to release the person's spirit. So in Estonia, it is thought that there is a day each year when the dead return to their home for a visit. So rooms are cleaned and food is laid out for a banquet. So this is to preserve and strengthen relationship between the living and the souls of the dead. So, however, in Japanese families, they visit the cemetery 4 times each year. They also have small altars in their homes where they pray to their ancestors. So, they believe that the ancestors are always with them, guiding their lives and providing them protection. So, in America, many people of different cultures visit the cemetery for periods of reflection, solitude, and discussion with dead relatives. It is the practice of they practice leaving flowers at the gravesite as their expression of respect. On the other hand, death rituals are important for helping the people who remain to cope with their grief and reorient their lives in a world without the person who died. So most cultures have funerals for the dead. So these funerals involve gathering a family, friends, and spiritual leaders to carry out the rites of the dead person. So they also provide a social context for expression of grief, celebrate the life of the person who died, and begin the process of social support for those who remain. So depending on cultural custom, these social gatherings may be may occur before or after the burial or cremation. So in African tradition, the wake may last many days as mourners gather from different locations. So the entire community contributes money to cover the cost of food, burial expenses, and the family support during the period of mourning. So the funeral begins with drumming, singing, and dancing, which continue when the funeral procession moves to the burial site or the airport if the person is returned to Africa to be buried with his or her ancestors. So the most important, the social position of the deceased, the most elaborate the funeral. So in Jewish tradition, special focus is given to the practices expected of children on the death of their parents. So this may be related to the importance placed on the fifth commandment to honor one's father and mother. So upon returning to the home after the burial, the family members light a shiva, which means seven, candle, which represents the everlasting soul of the deceased. So they begin 7 days of mourning, a time when family members will just stay at home and focus to their attention to the grief. So the Kaddish, or it is a prayer that affirms life and faith in God, is recited daily. So on the seventh day, the Shiva candle is extinguished and the family members take a walk outside. So this served as escorting the soul out of the house. So this period of mourning typically lasts 12 months for those who have lost a parent and is marked by the unveiling of the tombstone or grave marker. After that time, children note the anniversary of their parents' death by lighting a yarzet or a year's time and candle and attending services for the Kaddish. However, in United States tradition, people typically have a will which is read to their ears. So this ritual provides for the distribution of resources and assets according to the deceased person's wishes. So the reading of the will is distribution of the assets help to realign the social system following the death. So obituaries which are published in local newspapers are another custom that notifies the larger community of a death. So these statements often acknowledge the person's accomplishments and recognize their family members. So in one study, Amish families found six conditions especially helpful for coping with death. So first is the continued presence of the family both during the illness and at the moment of death. So, well, this can provide emotional support, comfort, and a sense of connection. Second is open communication about the process of dying and its impact on the family. Open communication can foster understanding and it can reduce uncertainty between the family. The number three is maintenance of a normal lifestyle by the family during the illness. So this provides a support structure for both the patient and the family. This can also help reduce stress and allows the family to better cope with the challenges. So number four is commitment to as much independence of the dying person as possible. So this condition promotes dignity and autonomy during their final days. It helps them retain a sense of control over their decisions. Number five, the opportunity to plan and organize one's own death. So this can express their preferences and to ensure their wishes are respected. This process may include how they want the arrangement of their funerals. The last one is continued support for the bereaved for at least a year following the funeral, with a long-term support given to those who do not remarry. So long-term support, particularly for those who do not remarry, acknowledges the enduring nature of grief.